I can't even say something. They're so terrible. But they didn't even understand who my husband was.
That was where I was coming next with, but sure, let's go.
Yeah, like they didn't know that. So then they were like, "Are you going to have a love interest in the second part?" And then they thought my father was my brother. They thought my brother was some like they just had these weird theories. They didn't understand the dynamics.
Initially I wasn't going to believe what he was going to, like, he promised me a lot of things and I was like, yeah, but what are you going to do? This huge big film, and you have all this all of these people in it, and what am I going to do in this? But yeah, but I was really grateful.
I did get to know it was Pawan Kalyan sir was the hero of the film. I said, wow. People would like say, can you just touch him? Because if you touch him, it feels like we have touched him. Are you like excited that you're working with our God? I said, wait a second, what is happening? KGF was the answer to that. I think KGF was so brilliantly made in terms of concept, colors, the photography, the concept itself. And I loved his vision, Prashant's vision, and the way Yash actually played it out was brilliant.
Hello, everybody. I'm Radrani, and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. My guest today is so talented. I'm sure you are so excited that she's doing this with us because we want to know so much more about Sriya and Salaar. Well, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure talking to you.
Shreya, like I said, and you were saying, it's been a moment, right? I'm sure you're being flooded with messages, all your fans, everybody who's been a part of the film, Salaar and everybody else is excited and thrilled for also the kind of love that you're getting for your part. So tell me how it's been, particularly because you're someone who doesn't do films too often, and you took a break in between. You took a break way back, then you came and did something in 2018 with Sila, and then now with this you are back. So I want to know how your feeling is, and I'm sure you're not regretting any choice that you made.
No, absolutely. I think to just sum up everything you just said, that in life, I think everybody needs to wait for the right moment, the right time, and how much we kind of want to push at a particular point, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, had to wait for the right time for all to happen.
Sure, I said, was it I want to know how your friends and family reacted to the film, right? When you're coming back after a really long time, I think their opinions matter too. And then, of course, what have been the most flattering or the most humbling messages that you've received from people or even actors that you've known?
It's been completely humbling and extremely overwhelming, to say the least. Waited for this for a very long time, and finally having got what I wanted is something which I think my parents are extremely proud of, and I think the lead up to the actual day has been quite crazy and a lot of anxious moments, but finally able to slowly settle into the thought that the movie has finally happened and the movie is doing very well. So yes, extremely happy, and everybody around me is happy as well.
That anxious moments, what were those moments though?
Tiny little mini heart attacks every now and then. Yeah, and just yeah, it's been quite traumatic, because you, after coming back after such a long time, you're just hoping that you've made the right decision, and just hoping that everybody liked it. I've liked it, and so there are a lot of emotions that do kind of play in my mind. So I'm quite happy right now.
You obviously have spoken a little about how it took a lot of convincing from Prashant Neel's side to make you do this. And ultimately, of course, you gave in and you said, yes, I would. I want to tell me what was bothering you in the beginning that he had to convince you so much. That, and what eventually worked out for you that you said yes to him. So both the answers.
Yeah, I have this habit of saying no as soon as I get a project. I don't know why, because I always hope that even if I like it, the director kind of says, no, you know what, this may not happen. And then eventually the whole project just doesn't work. I don't know. I think I'm a little always nervous and scared at the beginning of a project, and I was not too sure whether I really wanted to do it. So that's the reason why I was quite apprehensive at the beginning. But yeah, once Prashant did narrate the story to me, and then I kind of understood from where he was coming from and believed him more than him. Initially, I wasn't going to believe what he was going to, like, he promised me a lot of things, and I was like, yeah, but what are you going to do? This huge big film, and you have all this stuff, all of these people in it, and what am I going to do in this? But yeah, but I was really grateful to him, and extremely happy the way the character turned out.
Sure, like you very honestly said, right? Like there is a chance that you kind of get lost in this world. And particularly when you have people like Prabhas and Prashant Neel himself. Prashant himself comes from I call it the trophy and the baggage of the KGF world, right?
Exactly.
That people just don't stop talking about. Was also one of the major reasons where you are like, if I'm doing this, it's a great thing, but what is going to eventually happen? Because a lot of part in KGF also and his world comes from a very masculine point of view, right? But your character in this particular film is of her own, and you kind of also bring that out.
Absolutely, you just said it, because that's exactly what he promised me. That he promised me that when you come into this character, you will hold your own ground. And that is exactly what he has delivered. So I'm extremely happy that, a lot of people make a lot of promises, but you know how it works. So, but this, I mean, I hadn't seen KGF when I'd spoken to Prashant for the first time. So I really didn't know his style of filmmaking. I didn't know anything. But after speaking with him, and I realized that I had to go and watch KGF 1 and 2, and KGF 2 had just released. So, yeah, extremely happy.
Prashant Neel world, along with the drama and the action, has some really hard-hitting dialogues to back the character that he's trying to create. And you have some monologues here.
Oh my God, tell me about it. I think I have the most number of dialogues in the film. And that was a real pressure, because I wasn't very comfortable with the language, although Telugu is my mother tongue, and it took me a while to get into the whole character, and it was a little complicated because it's not regular Telugu. And Prashant has this habit of writing dialogues sitting on set, or writing it just 24 hours before. And I'm an actor who needs the lines well in advance to kind of actually deliver my best.
Okay.
So that was very challenging. But having said that, I think it was also, I was really raw coming back after so many years. So I really can't blame him. I'll have to blame myself for it.
I mean, we've all seen you perform. So if that's raw, Shreya, you're obviously being humble here. But you must have done a lot of your prep work, right? I want to know what happened in the workshops with the other actors as well. When you met Prabhas, when you met the other actors, how did you build that? It's an important part of your character, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the onset itself, Prashant knew what he wanted out of the character. So the beginning of the prep was the look. He wanted to get the look right, because she is not the regular antagonist. When we say female antagonist, they have a particular look, right? So he didn't want that. He wanted her to be have a lot of grace, dignity, and a lot of poise as well. So he didn't want this character to be screaming, shouting, and delivering her dialogues. So he was very particular in what he wanted. So it was very easy. Prabhas is like a gentle giant. He's just extremely sweet and very, very gracious. And he's just on his own, he doesn't talk much, and he's a man of extremely few words. And Prithvi is a fabulous actor, great screen presence. In fact, both of them have a great screen presence. And I mean, I was just fortunate enough to work with extremely good human beings, be it Prashant, be it Prabhas, Prithvi, Jagpati Babu Garu. All of them have been extremely nice and made me feel at home. So I had a great journey in filming this.
For someone who had taken a break for a long time, you're of course back to another. You shot with Mr. Pawan Kalyan for OG, and I know that it must be exciting, and the responses that you're already getting must be because overwhelming, because Mr. Kalyan himself is a huge star. So I want to know, you were aware? Did you know how big he was till you were there and you could see it all, and of course finally choosing OG as well?
So when Sujit narrated the script to me, I was completely bowled over, and when the initial reaction before he actually started telling me the script, I thought it would be a regular run of the mill, something I knew he would, if he had come to me, it would be something interesting. But there was the DOP of the film, who's Ravi K. Chandran, and he is a very dear friend and who I've known forever. So he, in fact, told me, listen, just listen to the script. It's a brilliant script, and I'm sure you would love it. So I had gone in with a lot of confidence because I trust him so much. I had gone in with a lot of confidence. And when Sujit narrated it, I think it was one of the few projects that I didn't even want to ask anybody. I just went ahead and said okay to him in that conversation itself. Usually, I would say I will get back to you, discuss with my managers and all of that. Here, I didn't even want to do that. And then the script was the first priority. And then later, when I did get to know it was Pawan Kalyan sir was the hero of the film, I said, wow. Because I've been following him in his political speeches, and I'm quite a news junkie. So I love the way he talks with so much of conviction, and the way he talks, I find it very interesting. But I didn't know that he was this demigod to people. I didn't know that unless when I started it and people got to know that I was in the film, people would like say, can you just touch him? Because if you touch him, it feels like we have touched him. Are you like excited that you're working with our God? I said, wait a second, what is happening? So only then did I realize that he has a huge following, and people genuinely, it's not that they love a star, but they genuinely love the person who he is. And that was very intriguing as well for me.
No, I'm sure it was. And we're all looking forward to that. But for now, we are back to Salaar. I want to know, when the looks were revealed, I think every look that was revealed here was done. Every photo shoot has been done with a lot of pain, clearly. And your look and that photo that came out was just magnificent. I want to know the pain behind it, because it looks like a perfect picture, but I know that there's always a story behind pictures like that. So you'll have to tell me, considering it was not easy to get you on board, what went. I know there must have been some things that must have happened during that photo shoot as well.
So I think, like I said, when the captain of the ship is pretty much he knows what he wants, it makes things a little easier. But I wanted it in a particular way because I wanted her to have a swag as well, right? She could be elegant, she could be a very strong-minded lady, but I wanted her to have a particular swag in terms of the jewelry she wore. So that is why we didn't go for artificial jewelry. We went for jewelry that is real silver jewelry. So it was very heavy. It was like a few kgs. I was wearing a few kgs on my ears, a few kgs on my neck, and the bangles, the earrings, everything was like, we planned it. Nothing happened just by chance. Everything was planned. We went through so many jewelry designers. Even the colors are something that we really had to push Prashant, my designer, and me, because he only likes blacks and grays, right? And the lightest color that he would go or touch would be olive green. So we pushed our boundary for a maroon, we pushed it for a mustard, and we thought that her sari also needs to be like, when she walks, she needs to have that magnificent look, right? So we had like a trail. So she walks and she has the pallu like a trail following her. And the way the sari was tied also was very different. And even the nose ring, all the men in the family wear a plain ring, and Radha Rama, my character, has a little designed one, which is very pretty. So yeah, we planned, and he didn't want too much happening on my face. So I wanted to wear something on my forehead, right, to give the very queenie look. He said, no, I don't want any distractions on her face. So even the curls, I had like really big curls, and he would come and all the time push it behind. And he's like, clip it, clip it, clip it. I'm like, no, I don't want to clip it because the whole look goes. But he said, no, I don't want any distraction on her face. So our eye makeup is like a beak of an eagle, right? So it's the two beaks that come like this, and then it goes like this, like a butterfly kind of a thing. So he wanted it in such a way that she doesn't talk much. She only looks, and people get scared. So that is what went into making Radha Rama look the way she did. But I do remember playing songs from KGF, which one of my favorite songs out of KGF, while doing the photo shoot.
Correct.
To kind of get into the mood, we played KGF songs during the photo shoot. But apart from that, during shooting as such, we didn't have any music.
But fab, I love that picture. You ultimately were happy with it, so we all can see why it turned out.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to know the discussion that you had with Prashant. Like, what did you tell him when you were also trying to understand the character better, and when you actually walked into his office to see what kind of work that they are doing?
So they had already done extensive work before, when everything was set. The pre-production took a long time for them, and they had already done so much of work that when we actors came in, there were enough of material for us to understand and for them to explain to us. And so they have these white boards in their rooms, about 4-5, and where explain the family chart, how each character is related to the other, and each one's dynamics. Everything was very, very meticulously explained on these boards. And I think Prashant just doesn't explain the particular scene, but he gives you a backstory as well. So when he gives you the backstory, you understand why she is the way she is, why she has so much of anger. And see, I think every filmmaker is very different. You can't expect every filmmaker to have the same tone, right?
Yeah.
So be it a Mani Ratnam's film, be it a Raju Hirani's film, or be it a Prashant Neel's film, the tone is very different. So Prashant Neel's films are generally loud, and it is multiplied into 10, right? And one must understand that each one has a different flavor, and that's why we like different films, right? Not all filmmakers can be the same, not all actors can be the same. And I think that is the beauty of actors, because how we are able to mold into different directors what they like.
Yeah.
So getting into Prashant's mold, what he wanted his actors to be, it took us a while. But when we got the hang of it, it became pretty much easy towards the end.
I want to definitely ask you how it was when you gave your first shot. There's so much prep that you already did. I want to know about that day. How that, and because I remember you just mentioned mini heart attacks, and I have a feeling that first day there is even more. So tell me about it.
I'm not exaggerating. I lost about 3 kilos. I hadn't eaten for 36 hours. I hadn't eaten. I was so engrossed with getting those lines right. And he had told me 24 hours before that, you have to come to Hyderabad and you have to do the scene. And he didn't tell me what the scene is or how big the scene is. So I was presuming it is an important scene. Coming there the first time, getting the look right, getting the lines right, and top of everything, when you are nervous, everything just is like Greek and Latin to you. How much ever you've mugged it, when we write our exams sometimes, right? You've learned everything, but when you go to the paper, you just go blank.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened to me. I completely went blank. I was stone cold, and everybody around me was scared of me, like all the other actors. And little did they know that I'm dying a million times inside.
Well, other than what was the scene like, when you're telling me about the scene?
So it was the jail setup. It was the jail
Prithviraj.
where, yeah. And I remember that's the first time I met Prabhas as well. I met Prithvi as well for the first time that day. And Prashant had the highest hopes on me. I don't know why. He's like, yeah, you can do it. You for sure can get this. No problem. If it was anybody else, I would have had a problem. But you, it's okay. And I'm like, Prashant, I don't know. I don't remember the lines. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to do anything. He says, don't do anything. Just walk, come, stand. That's all. Leave it. So he was giving me the confidence to perform. He was giving me the confidence, like, I don't know why you are getting scared, because I'm not scared. I know you can pull this off. So I think when somebody has so much of hope on you, it, in a way, it is like a two-way traffic kind of a thing where I want to give him the best because he believes in me so much. And I'm unable to do it as well. So it was a little tough. I think the toughest day of my life. So today, when I look back and say, I'm grateful that everything just worked out pretty well.
And what was the wrap-up shot? That's always the happiest part, you guys.
The wrap-up shot was the climax of the film, which I shot with my father. That was pretty much okay. The anxiety that I had on the first day was it was a whole different story, but towards the end, it was okay.
Towards the end, it was okay. But we don't see any of it. Shreya, you're a fantastic actor. I must say that. But there are so many deductions and theories, I'm sure, floating on social media. And I'm sure that your phone and your social media must be blowing up. I want to know how much of it are you reading? A. And what are the interesting things that you've read that we can discuss today?
Trust me, the ones that I have coming out of my head right now are so funny.
I want to know.
I'm just cracking up as to how do they even come up with this.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so one is I can't even say some things. They're so terrible. But they didn't even understand who my husband was.
That was where I was coming next with, but sure, let's go.
Yeah, like they didn't know that. So then they were like, are you going to have a love interest in the second part? And then they thought my father was my brother. They thought my brother was some, like, they just had these weird theories. They didn't understand the dynamics. Or even forget that, even before the film released, the dynamics were crazy.
Really?
So that was interesting because they were very confused. They were like, who is Shreya's husband? Who is Shreya's father? And then when they actually saw the movie, they were like, so now they're all speculating as to what the second part would be. Who's going to be the next target? What is Radha Rama going to do? Who is Deva going to kill next? Where is Varda going to be in all of this? So the theories are very, very exciting and also very, very funny.
But I have a feeling that you're the only person who's actually figured out this relationships thing in your...
No, trust me, even I, like, because the more I'm explaining to people, the end of it, they tell me, even you don't know, so please shut up.
Really? But you obviously you know who Radha Rama and her backstory is. I want to know, like, you had, because they must have told you, you had a little bit of clarity. How did the others around you, like your father, husband, Bhima, and everybody else, like, how were they reacting to this relationship dynamics, the family, the familial relationships?
So I was to most actors, you're just given the brief and you're asked to come to perform, right? I'm not talking about the main leads, but the rest of them. So everybody is like literally scratching their head during shoot and wondering, why am I saying this? And then I'm like, no, you are so-and-so related to me. You are like this, you are like that. So only if I tell them, they understand who they are. They're like, oh my God, I'm related to you. I'm like, yeah, so you please accordingly, please act. So I had to do a lot of explaining to a lot of them, and they were like, "Wow, I didn't even know."
How do you look at the world of Salaar, Shreya? Now that the film is released and you get to see all of this, and when you were doing it, how did you look at the world that Prashant Neel has built?
I think
And because it's going to be a world, it's going to continue, right? There'll be part two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a very bold step, right? Because if you can just imagine, if we are breaking our heads to understand, imagine as a filmmaker what he must have put in for how many years to bring this world, right? His vision onto paper. It must have taken him a lot of learning, unlearning. And this is only the beginning where it's the foundation, right? Always, see, if you see Game of Thrones, not many people understood the first season. It took them 8 episodes to the first season to understand what the world building was. So likewise, even in movies, it's going to take time because this is the foundation where the story is explained. What is Kansara and how all the characters come inside? It's explained to the audience. So when part two comes, it's absolutely bang, 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 bang. It won't even allow you to breathe. It's going to be that intense. So I think everybody needs to have a little bit of patience and continue with the theories and wait for us to bring out part two, and then you will understand it better when part two comes.
Like KGF, of course, Salaar also has enough action. I want to know, have you ever enjoyed action before you were a part of this? How did you look at the world, and what is your thinking towards action films particularly?
I love action films, and I think KGF was the answer to that. I think KGF was so brilliantly made in terms of concept, colors, the photography, the concept itself. And I loved his vision, Prashant's vision, and the way Yash actually played it out was brilliant. And I think that's why a lot of youngsters took to it, right? It was a cult film. Likewise, I think I love action films. It's just a bit overload. I kind of get a little wary with it. But otherwise, I would love to be a part of action films, but just not stand and stare. I would like to be involved in it because I love action and I think I'm an extremely fit person. So I think women should be given the opportunity to be a part of an action film and do something in it, just not stand.
Because the male, usually, the way he projects his male characters is out there, completely heroic. I feel like there's a touch of that in your character in Radha Rama, which is very rare that I see. What do you think about it?
So we are only scratching the surface. What you see of Radha Rama is the very, very, very top layer. We haven't even dwelled into who she really is or get into her character. The real Radha Rama only comes out on the part two. So you can just about imagine, if you people are excited about this now, you can just about imagine what part two is going to be like. But having said that, I think Prashant knows what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's doing, and we'll have to see what he's going to be churning out for part two.
I asked this also because I know that now you will get even more offers, right? But what is it that you truly want to do after this, and the actors you want to collaborate with?
I don't know about the actors, collaborating with actors. I believe in collaborating with the right kind of filmmakers, trying to put out the right story, because I think it's a great place for women right now in the industry. And I think I want to, really want to cash in on that time where, great scripts are written in for women. And I'm so happy that I've come back at the right time where, that I can be a part of these amazing scripts. But I would definitely look into being very versatile. I've always believed that I'm a very versatile actor and just not one linear. So, yeah, I would want to definitely work with exciting filmmakers and just not necessarily the big ones. I would like to work with young talent and people. No, I think there are far too many people there's so many fabulous films made, right? The smaller films that are made, and I think they have such great story. And now you don't need to mount a very big film for it to be successful. You know, the films that are made under 5 crores as well are doing extremely well, and great stories being told. So I would love to be a part of those stories, you know, that travel across and cater to a larger market as well.
Are there some films this year that you watched and you were absolutely, mesmerized by, or the performances?
A lot, but just right now to think about it, I'm not able to remember. But I remember watching Dimple Kapadia's Saas, Flamingo Saas. What is it?
Yeah.
You know
Correct.
what I'm
Yeah, Saas Bahum or Flamingo,
or
right?
Flamingo. Yes, yes. I was completely blown in by that. I was like, wow, at that age, to be able to play that and get out being so convincing was something I loved it. I really loved her character, and I loved all the other women as well in that series. And I think on OTT, there's some great stories being told and great performances that I have loved. Just right now, I'm not able to think, but that's the only thing that comes to my mind. But yeah, I've seen some great movies and some great performances that I've absolutely loved.
Are there any male and female actors whose journeys you've really admired because of their body of work?
I've always been a huge fan of Irrfan Khan. I've always admired actors down south as well. And Pawan Kalyan is one person I find, somebody who I think he's extremely good looking, and I've always admired the way he talks. And I've never seen too many movies of his, but whatever I see of him on screen and off screen, I find him a very interesting person. So I'm really glad that I'm working with him. But apart from him, I think the younger lot of actors as well are doing a great job. And I'm really fortunate to have worked with Prabhas and Prithvi as well, both being great actors.
The interesting part about creating worlds like this is there are the fans and people always hope that it becomes a cinematic universe where different worlds clash. Like there is a LCU, a Lokesh cinematic universe, right? There's of course other movies like you have Rohit Chetty movies where you have all those universes being created. And there with Salaar, with so many characters, and also there is a other characters of Prashant. Do you think there has been ever a discussion post the success and you reading things online that there might be some interesting clash of universes within?
I have no idea about this because I think maybe Prashant is the best person to
Would be
answer.
interesting though.
Would be interesting, absolutely. When both the franchises they've done so well, I think a lot of people are doing it. I'm not aware, but I think it'd be interesting. But I'm not the best person to answer that question.
Okay. We'll see what will come up with, isn't it? We'll try to ask Neil more about this. But tell me, is it overwhelming to every day are people asking, oh, your movies made this many crores? Because, I asked this question because just some time back you told me that I'm okay. I'm okay with doing a film that has a smaller budget, which gives me an idea that you've really not been a person who's been used to numbers being 25th and say, oh, my, your film is there. It's obviously joyous that it's getting so much love. I want to ask you, how do you look at that? Because you come from a part where you're, of course, happy with getting so much, but also happy with, doing the films that are smaller.
I don't get into numbers. I don't get into that aspect of filmmaking. My job starts and ends with me getting into a film, giving my best, right? Success, it doesn't mean too much to me. For me, it is always putting the best foot forward and putting in everything I have in my system to make the character believable. So when I say that, it means I really give my sweat, blood, and tears, and give it everything I have in my living being to the character to make it feel believable. And when I have done that job, it ends there.
Yeah.
I don't get into anything beyond that because I think if I do get beyond that, then I'm giving away part of myself as well, which I don't want to. So my work starts and ends there. So I don't get into numbers. And like I said earlier, for me, the production house really doesn't matter. The monies don't matter. I'm here for the sole reason of passion, that I'm here to act. I mean, my passion is acting, and that's the sole reason I'm here for.
Because you're a kind of person who just wanted to do her thing the best. And then, because today, in the world that we are, everybody's so involved in how much the film has made, also along with the acting part of it, right? Like they're, like you said, even Salaar's made so many crores, and then they'll compare with other films. So the Donkey's made this, that, and there are fans fighting over saying that our film is done better. But I think you being able to sort of detach yourself from that and only focusing on your also kind of helps, doesn't it? Otherwise, you see a lot of actors who are involved in it, who are, taking that update daily, say how much has it made, because it matters to some people and the producers and everybody else. So tell me, has that really helped as well?
I think yes, for me the number one priority is for the film to do well, right? So only if the film does well, then you would be appreciated and your character will be appreciated, right? So yes, my number one priority is as well is the film to do well. But I just think when I don't know the subject very well, it is just better to refrain from that, right? I don't understand the numbers. I don't understand that side of the film business. So I don't like to comment on something that I don't know. But I'm happy if the film does well. It really helps in the overall picture and everybody involved as well.
From saying no to doing photo shoots and to kindly coming here, what was your last conversation that you had with Mr. Prashant Neel? Because like you're telling me that he's definitely made sure his promises that were kept in the film, right? Like, because you were projected the way you were. So I want to know that, like, what was that conversation?
I really want to ask him this one question. How did you see me in a particular role when I had not when he told me the character as well, I was not convinced myself in terms of he saw something that I didn't see in myself.
Yeah.
He tapped a potential that I didn't know I had. He had the confidence in me that I didn't have in myself. And I think that is the greatest takeaway from Salaar, because when somebody believes in you, it's the greatest thing that you can hold on to. It's the greatest gift that you can ever ask for. So I am extremely privileged and grateful that I have met Prashant and Prashant had believed in me and I was able to deliver it back to him. So when somebody believes in you and you're not able to deliver, that becomes a really sad story. So today I'm so overwhelmed with the love, and trust me, I wasn't expecting this much of love. I was always expecting people would say, yeah, she's a decent performer. But this love is so overwhelming. It's been like, what, 4 days since the release, and it hasn't sunk in. I haven't really partied. I haven't really celebrated. I haven't done anything. I'm just being like a Buddha, like just sane, meditating, doing all of that. The feeling hasn't really come up as yet. So I'm waiting for that excitement to actually come.
But no, congratulations. I'll end it with this question. I think they always say that, when there's a great set and you have a director who's brought in the best people together, then the camaraderie that happens offset also adds so much. So I want to know about that.
Sorry to burst that bubble, but I didn't have any much of interaction with anybody, because I think I was so involved in my character that for me to even slip out and to become a normal person in 8 hours or 10 hours of shooting was not going to be possible. I was always to myself, even if I was in the caravan or on set. Talking to anybody was not happening. I was all the time in my lines, in my character. Because it does take me a time for me to get in and get out. So I don't want to get out, because when the director says action, I have to be ready with my character. So there was no discussion. There was no friendship. There was nothing happening. My only interaction was with Prashant, and that's where it started and ended. And yeah, there was nothing. I wouldn't be talking. I wasn't talking to anybody. I would just literally keep quiet. So people took it, probably must have taken it as arrogance, but it's not arrogance. It's just that I was in my character.
But you know how refreshing, and this is a very different take from what you hear, right? This is a process of yours. And I love that you were so honest, because I think that's why you see who you are also, right? Sometimes people can switch on and off. I love that you were in your own and you had to stay in it. It must have been quite taxing, right? Like you all make it look easy, but I don't think
I don't have that much of intelligence also. So somebody who's much more intelligent could have balanced both. But I am not that intelligent. I needed to find a way that I could manage this. And this was my best possible way to manage it.
I hear humility here. It's that, of course, you're intelligent, Shreya. We've all seen your work. Please, of course you are. But I don't know. I think you just give us an insight into your process, and I think it's fine. It's every actor has different process.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me into your world and giving me so much insight about how it was.
I'm so glad that I know this is the holiday time, and I know you had to rush somewhere, and I kept changing the interview time. But I'm really glad we were able to finish this, and it was my absolute pleasure talking to you.
It was. Thank you so much, Shreya. Of course, looking forward to part 2, and we will see. We will see where it takes. We obviously can't ask you too much about it. I also like that you've taken, of course, the positive feedback, also all the, like you're saying, the comments that have been coming about the confusion in a very good spirit, because it's impossible that everybody is going to like everything about the film, right?
Yeah.
I like you take it with a pinch of salt and you're finding humor in that. It's important.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, Shreya. Sending you lots of love and looking forward to so much more work.
And have the best new year, and hoping 2024 is the best year for you.
Absolutely. Sending you lots of love and happy new year.
Thank you so much.